If you haven't tried Luffa before, you are missing out. This recipe is simple, easy, and delicious. Let's go over the ingredients. We have the Luffa, melon, minced garlic, or you can use fresh garlic and mince it yourself if you like, ginger, green onion, and shrimp. I'm using some frozen shrimp here and just defrosting it in cold water right now. After washing the loofah, we're going to use a peeler and peel off some of the rough parts of the skin. And I purposely leave a little bit of the skin behind because it is edible, but I try to get all the dirty parts and the tough parts off. And I just work over this plastic bag here, which I use to collect all the waste, so it's easier to discard and clean up. Next, I'm going to scrape off the skin of the ginger with a spoon. It's much easier than using the peeler for ginger. And then we're going to chop the ingredients. You can discard the ends of the loofah melon, and I cut it into triangles roughly, or triangle shaped wedges you can say. It looks a bit like a cucumber, but the texture and the taste is very different, and I don't eat it raw. I don't know if it's edible raw. I always cook it before eating it. After cooking, it releases a very sweet flavor. After chopping the loofah, I'm also going to chop the green onions as well as a couple of slices of the peeled ginger. And I'm using this bean vermicelli as well in my recipe. First, I'm going to rinse and soak it in cold water until it softens. And I'm using this brand from Made in Taiwan. And of note, I discard this water. I don't reuse this water for cooking. Okay, now let's start cooking. I've got some peanut oil, this brand, at the bottom of my pot, and it's set on low-medium heat. I'm going to put in the ginger slices first. The aromatics add a lot of flavor to this dish, so it's important to be patient and let the caramelization process bring out the flavors without burning the ingredients. When it starts sizzling, I'm going to add in the green onions. Continue cooking on low to medium heat so that the ingredients don't burn. And once you can smell the aromatics, it's time to add the shrimp, which I've added a little bit of salt to the shrimp. And you will notice that I've kept the skin on. The shrimp, when I bought them, it already comes deveined, so it's very convenient, saves me an extra step. I prefer leaving the skin on because I find it retains more of the umami flavor and releases more umami flavor into my dish. But of course, if you prefer, you can remove the skin before cooking. So it cooks pretty quickly, the shrimp. And now I'm going to add a splash of wine, Shaoxing wine. And you can hear the sizzle. And by now the kitchen is smelling really nice. Also going to add some white pepper for seasoning. Give it a little bit of a mix. Next, I'm going to add the minced garlic from Lee Kum Kee. And I add it last because it burns the easiest, so I don't add it on too early on. And then at this point we can add in the loofah as well as some water. Okay, I've now added some water, and I'm going to allow the shrimp and the loofah melon to cook together. I'm going to put the lid on and wait a couple of minutes until it starts to boil. And then I'm going to add this fish sauce, which is going to bring the salty and seafood flavor into the dish. Just going to add about a tablespoon amount. If you want, you can give it a taste to see if it's seasoned sufficiently to your liking. And last, we're going to add the bean vermicelli. And I'm just going to add a little bit more water here. The bean vermicelli is still white in color at this time, but after being cooked through, it will become translucent. I am just immersing the noodles into the broth so that it will cook more easily. The vermicelli will soak up fluid as it cooks. That's why I added a bit more water. Put the lid back on and bring it back to a boil. And it is now ready to serve. This recipe makes 2 servings. This recipe is so easy and nutritious, low in fat, and trust me, the flavors are amazing. So if you haven't tried loofah melon in the past, you must try this recipe. And let me know how it goes. See you next time.